Hey guys, I've been trying to get to the Springhill Plantation to finish my history video, but with my knee issue I haven't been able to. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to go ahead and put together the 3 videos that I've already have out with the history, and I'm going to bring it all together and show you guys how much history I've uncovered with these 3 places. And when I can, I will get to the Springhill Plantation and do just a video on that, because there is so much history there as well. Not only the history I'm going to tell you here, but there is a lot of paranormal activity there as well. And you guys know I've done my videos and showed you that I was always drawn to the Duncan Plantation, and I never went to explore it, and they've torn it down. So that got me into looking into the history of that place. And once I did and Google mapped it and history search and Google mapped it, I finally found out some information. So then I started tying in 3 places there that were actually within just a couple miles of each other, which is the Duncan Plantation, the Springhill Plantation, and the Camp Charity that's just right down the road is where I'm going now to show you. But also there's a couple of cemeteries around that are back in cornfields that I've noticed every time I've passed, and I've always wanted to go exploring there. Well, I've also tied in these cemeteries with all 3 of these places. It's just so amazing how much history you can uncover when you go out looking for it, not knowing that right in your back door so much history has went on. And when you put it together, you're just so amazed. So I hope you all enjoy, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and sorry that it's taken so long to put this together. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you. The Springhill Plantation is known for 3 things: the Civil War skirmish, the architecture, and the Underground Railroad. The house was owned by John R. Jones from Virginia. It was built in 1857 and sat on a large tract of land in Bloomfield, Kentucky. It was 2 stories that contained 15 rooms and was made of brick. Jones came here with a land grant for 1,000 acres and 40 slaves. 9 attended the house, and the others living in the cabins along the perimeter of the land. One cabin is still partially standing in a grove of trees in the back field that you can see from the winery. Jones was 79 when he married Anna Grant, who was 42 years old. They married in May of 1864. She was his second wife, and must have made him feel young, they say, because on their marriage certificate he listed his age of being 68. They say he probably lied to Anna as well. Next, we're going to talk about the background of the Duncan Plantation. The Duncan Plantation was built in the 1850s and owned by Major Green Duncan, who served in the state legislature and as a sheriff for Nelson County. He was also a depot agent in Bloomfield for the Louisville and Nashville Railroad branch. Duncan Hall was constructed with walls 4 bricks thick that were manufactured on site and from lumber that was cleared from the farm when it was developed. The house had 8 rooms and a rear kitchen with slave quarters located across the road. Duncan Hall was abandoned in the early 1990s when a lightning strike on August the 2nd of 2009 sparked a fire that engulfed the entire residence in flames. After a lot of research, I did find out that the cemetery on the land is the Duncan Cemetery, and this is where Major Green Duncan and some of his family members are laid to rest. On the day that we did visit the Duncan Plantation and made this video, there was a farmer rolling hay in the field, so I didn't know if I was allowed to be there or not. And also the cemetery that's over the hill, they had already planted corn for the season, and I did not want to walk into the cornfield. Once harvest is over, I do plan on going back and making a video of the cemetery. I wanted to give a little bit of background information on both plantations before I got into telling about the tragic events that took place. On June 17, 1864, Lieutenant Colonel George M. Jesse, a commander under General John Hunt Morgan, was leading a band of Morgan's men along with some farm boys who wanted to join the fight. The small unit of about 150 or so cavalrymen had escaped Morgan's failed Cynthiana raid. Jesse was called a guerrilla, but he was a regular Army officer. His men had been encamped near Bloomfield, Kentucky at Camp Charity. Jesse had served in the Kentucky General Assembly from 1857 to 1859 and was sent out scouting parties to steal horses for his men. Jesse sent out a patrol to locate the Confederate Green Duncan's place. Duncan's home was on the south side of the Bluegrass Parkway. The patrol Jesse sent out found John Jones's farm instead, not realizing Jones was a Union man. Private Thomas McIntyre and his men knocked on the door, but Jones would not answer. They then threatened to burn down the house, but still Jones did not give up his saddle and bridles. One of his saddles was made of precious jewels and stones. Jones loaded his gun and fired, the bullets hitting McIntyre. He was carried away and later had his arm amputated. When Jesse was informed of this, he sent men to burn Jones's house and shoot Jones. 3 soldiers returned and set fire to the wooden framework around the house. Jones, fearful the house would burn and his wife and daughter would be killed, stepped onto the porch where he was shot and killed. The Confederates left and neighbors put out the fire. John and Anna had only been married for 40 days. Jones's grave can be seen in Campground Church Cemetery in Nelson County. His inscription only reads, "In memory of John R. Jones, born August 27, 1785, and shot this day, June 17, 1864, at age 78. General Stephen Burbridge, military commander of Kentucky, issued Order Number 59 that dictated when a Union man was killed by guerrillas, prisoners of war would be shot in reprisal. The men selected to be executed was John May Hamilton, 37, of Richmond, Indiana, and Richard Berry, 20, of Livingston County. The prisoners were brought to Bloomfield and taken to a spot on Bunker Hill on the south side of town where they were executed. In my research, I was able to find where John May Hamilton was buried, so I went to the Maple Hill Cemetery to see if I could find his place of rest. Not knowing this was also one of my favorite cemeteries and did not even know that this history was there. Also, upon finding, I did find, while I was there, some graves that belong to the family of the Duncans as well. Oh, here we go, guys. May Hamilton of Richmond, Virginia, shot July 14, 1864. In retaliation for the death of John Jones. The other thing that I found out in history, that there is a tunnel from the root cellar to another house down the road, which is the Duncan Plantation, where runaway slaves would hide there and escape through the tunnel if they had to. The tunnel is easy to find. They said it's just outside, below the kitchen window of the Springhill Plantation. There are names and dates drawn in the concrete steps in front of the door that led into the cellar. When they were renovating the back wing, and they found another hidden trapdoor under the subflooring. They say it leads down into the cave system, which has an opening on the side of a hill about a quarter mile down the road, just outside the Duncan Plantation. Since the Duncan place has been demolished, it makes you wonder, the last small brick building that is still standing, could this be the other entrance? I hope you all have enjoyed, and I hope that you were just as amazed as I was to uncover hidden history in a local community.